1 year of space engineers, starting off on a planet, crashing down with nothing, fighting for everything we had from the start, taking what we needed, and killing those who got in the way. But it wasn't that easy. We made friends as quickly as we made enemies. Sometimes it was hard to find out who was who, and we learned to defend what we have. And sometimes, more often than not, we learned that we had to take our losses and start over. But even through server hacks, constant attacks, losing our stuff, we fought back. We rebuilt, and we went on the offensive whenever we could. We became notorious. We had bounties put on us. And in one episode, we were hunted for 12 straight hours. We didn't give up. We hid deep. We found a planet with thick atmosphere, heavy gravity. We found the biggest mountain we could, and we fortified. We dug down deep, keeping ourselves isolated, collecting what we could, planning, and keeping everything a secret. Even finding people living next to us and assassinating them before they could expose our location. And once we have accumulated, we left the planet. And we planted seeds of our faction throughout the galaxy. Several locations, some unseen. And we went back on the offensive. And through the waning twilight hours before the server wipe, we left in a bang. No more on Keen US 3. we are all done with space engineers. But here's the equipment that got us through this series. What's up, Gamer Warriors? Chief Rocky here with another episode of Space Engineers. Actually, this will be the last one of the Let's Play, and this is closing it out. The server wiped. I'm not going back to it. I really wanted to play Keen servers just to kind of see how it was. One, I wanted to play on a vanilla experience, and two, I just wanted to see what the official servers were like, and they're garbage. I'm just letting you know right now. If I go back to playing Space Engineers, I'm not playing on a Keen server. It got hacked a couple times. We had rollbacks. There was just lag issues. It was atrocious. It was bad. I'm gonna do a whole review video on that. But anyways, right now we're gonna do a review on our fleet. Right, so from the smallest thing all the way up to largest. Now this is my Earth testing base. This is where I test my actual stuff out on Earth-like planet. So we'll start with the first thing we did. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it, and I will put a little snippet of the thumbnail of the video that it was in, or the videos it was in, and maybe a little snippet of some action of it in being used, but I'm not going to actually use it. So, but this is a modified version of, I forgot what this one's called. I think it's just the supply runner is what it's called, to be honest with you. Let me see. Yep, this was the AM1 supply runner, and this is the Mark II. This is the Earth-like planet one. We have a smaller one that's for Titan. But I just took the one from Titan and just beefed it up for Earth-like. It is small, it's compact, it's easy to build. Like if I blow it up, it's fine. I could get all the resources fairly simple or quickly. It doesn't go very high though. Once it gets pretty high, the atmosphere, it starts to diminish, so this thing doesn't really do very well in high atmosphere, but low to the ground it does fine. When I was building that great nice mountain base on the Earth-like planet in Keen 3, this thing would start to struggle when I got up to the mountain, because the mountain was really high, right? But it's basically just 2 medium containers, a couple small containers, a light, and that's it. It's literally meant to just get from point A to point B quickly with a small amount of supplies. So it did its job well. It did its job well. The next one I want to do is the Mirrorcat, because this is the one that I built after trying to get one called the Aardvark up. I just couldn't do it. And this is the CD1, or the C in my, and I'll put it right here on the screen. It's my it's a guide that I built back in like 2016, I think, on how I classify my equipment. So C means basically combined, so it's both atmo and both space, because it has the hydrogen, and then D is for drill, and it's the Mirrorcat because it's basically a mirror image of itself on both sides. It's small, so I thought Mirrorcat. Other than the fact that it's not the same on both sides, because this has the oxygen tank and the other side has battery. So it does kind of lean a little bit to this side when it's full, but it's not that bad of a lean, but it is a good ship. It's got me through some tight spots. It's, I think, 1 hydro tank and then 3 medium containers, but then these drills also act as containers too, so this thing holds quite a bit. I've used it both in space and on planet. It's a great ship. However, when I was trying to dig tunnels and clear out space for the mountain, I found that I needed something a little bit more compact, and that's when I built this. This is the AD-10 Earthworm. So there, I had an AD-1, I believe. I think that is this it up here? I think that's the 20. The AD-10, the AD-1 is just this, called the Mole Rat. And that is only for Titan, because it was based off of the Supply Runner's chassis. I'm not going to be covering that one because it was so niche and used just in like one video. And then we got killed, so I never built it again because we were on Earth-like. But this I used quite a bit for many months. It is very, very useful. I used it for tunnel digging, and then to actually go in and like clear out, where I used the Antlion, the AD-10, or the AD-20, to basically dig down. So this is what we call a strafe miner, and that one we call a, man, I forgot the term of it, plunge miner. Okay, so this is it's a drift and plunge, my bad, a drift and a plunge. So this is a drift miner, and that's a plunge miner. The plunge miner was great because I could just get down and figure out where it was, and then I could use the drift miner to get in there and kind of I could put it in I'll show you. So I have the drill set to where number 6 right here would actually turn on to terrain clearing. So I can actually make the hole bigger, and then get in there and just not have to worry about getting any of the like stone. I could just clear it all out. So yeah, the earthworm did a good job. It was just that. It would earthworm its way in. It's very elongated. It has, I think, 2 medium containers, just as the Mirrorcat, but that one drill. So it doesn't hold as much as like the Mirrorcat or the Antlion, but it does clear out very well, and it will get stuff if I need to. It has 2 different connectors, so it can connect either from the top or from the bottom or the back. So this thing has been very useful for me as well. Since we're still on drillers, we'll go up here. We'll take a look at the Antlion. That's not the Antlion. That's the Antlion. So this was my first ever plunge miner. I really did enjoy building this thing. This thing is fantastic. It has 4 drills. It has a camera on the bottom so I can see where I'm going. It has some lights. I didn't want to put the spotlights because it would just go down too far. So 1 giant container, and then it has 2 medium containers on both sides and connectors on this side. It has a ladder, so if I park it, this will actually sit up straight on the drills, which is fantastic, right? And then it has a ladder, so you can actually climb up here, and you could stand here just like this, and then hop inside, right? So I love this thing. It has good visibility here as well. I don't have a terrain clearing on this one. I should have probably built that. Maybe I do. I don't. But you can do that if you want. But when I'm first trying to dig down, I try to collect as much as like the iron or the stone or the ice as much as possible, because you can use that stuff. But I just try to get rid of most of it up until the time where I do collect it until I find the spot where I'm trying to get it, right? So this thing holds quite a bit, right? So all these drills will hold as much as like as a medium container, then 2 medium containers and 1 large. This thing was my main go-to to get mass amount of materials on the Earth Lake. All right, so the drillers are done. Those are my earth drills. This is combined, so I'm not going to cover this again, but I do have it up in my space building area. This is my design server, or my design game, and then I have the actual like build, or no, this is my testing game, and I have the design game, which is in space, where it gives me more flexibility. All right, so I have a raiding ship that I used in conjunction with other vessels like the Zion and the Heraldic Eagle. But this one specifically was built for Earth Lake. Let me jump in here because I forgot the name of it, and I don't have the thing turned on. This is the AFG-01 fighter, which its name should be the Shrew. Yes, a Shrew, because it's short, right, and digs holes. So the AFG. So this is basically a atmospheric fighter / gunship. Okay. So I was going to name it a sniper, but it's not really a sniper. I would need resources from space, and at the time I wasn't able to get it, so this is a cheaper way of doing it. It just has these cannons on the front, 4 of them, and that camera. So you kind of use it where you could you could tilt it back a little bit, and you could see over there that I'll fly over there in a second. Actually, let me fill up.
Critical.
I think I got it. I was sitting in this one when I filled up. Something filled me up quick. Oh, right here. There we go. There we go. So let me go over here. So the testing of this thing was quite interesting, right? I came over here by those trees to see how far I could get. I think it was like just over 1,000 kilometers, right? Is what I was able to get. Right. So I do have. I had an antenna on that and I blew it off, but I was able to get about 1,000 kilometers from it. and be able to hit it, which means it was out of base turret range, right? Unless somebody was smart enough and they put the advanced turret thing on their turret module and was able to hook it up, then yeah, they might be able to get me. But the Shrew was designed to be a Earth-based fighter / gunship. It has 4 Gatlings, and it has these cannons. It actually has quite good distance on it, right? It has plenty of batteries on it. I think this thing's jam-packed. Battery here, there's a battery here, there's a battery there. I think there's another battery up there. And I tucked in to make it look like an actual like jet fighter as much as possible. Right, here's the forward thrust. That's the downward thrust. There's 2 downward thrusts to keep this thing floating. There's side thrust on the side, and then your rear thrust is tilted right here on the what do you call it, the tail wing, if you want to call it that, the tail wings. It's not the prettiest of ships, but it did do its job. I never got to actually fire at another enemy on the planet because everybody knew that the server was getting wiped, so no one even logged in. But I did scour the planet, and I got halfway across Earth-like and then headed back, and I still had enough juice to park. I think I had like maybe 20%. So this thing can go pretty far. It's not it doesn't have very good acceleration, but it can go pretty far, and it can outgun your base. So it would probably lose in a dogfight unless I got the jump on you, but it wasn't really designed as that. It was more designed to take your base defenses down. So critical. And that is the AFG-1 Shrew. All right, I'm going to cover the Zion in space, but this is where I tested it to make sure I could land fully loaded with a wet weight, not a dry load, a hard wet weight, and it was able to land on the planet. So we're going to shift over to the design one. I think that's it, right? Because I like this base, by the way. I really do like the way I built this base. I think that's everything. Let's see. Oh, this is actually a landing pad built and designed for the Zion, because I was going to do one in the server. And this thing worked very well. Like, the Zion parks right here. And the feet will lock in right here, and you can and the feet right there, you can see the legs, and it'll actually sit right here, so you can just like walk right up onto it. It's pretty cool. All right, yeah, that's everything here on this one. So we're going to go over to the design game, and then we'll go over that stuff. All right, gamers, we are on the design world, and we're going to start with the smallest thing. Now, you can see that we are at our base. I forget what the name of the base is. I think it's like Outpost Alpha or Outpost Zeta or something like that. But I parked everything here because I was going to showcase like how much this base can support. It could support so much. There's so much docking room for everything, and these ships are not very small. They're decent size. And it's still able to dock everything up. So it's one of the things I wanted to showcase to the guys that, hey, this space base would be perfect for us as like a deep space base. But anyways, we're not here for the base because I already did a video on the base. If you want to go see that, there you go. All right, so the first thing we're going to look at is the CM-10 jumper. Okay, Luna jumper. So basically the CM-10, because we already have a CM-1, which I will show that in a minute. But this thing was specifically built when I crashed the Zion on the moon. And I needed something cheap to go back and forth from the crash site to try and make repairs, right? So we had a base that we just taken, and I was there attempting to land back to basically fill my hydrogen up, and I miscalculated, right? We crashed. But I needed a way to get stuff, so I came in here, I designed this little guy. It's cheap, it's light, it's very quick to build, it holds a decent amount, and if I crash it, it's whatever. I'm not too concerned about it. It's very cool to fly. You look cool in it too. You use your headlights as lights. I did build another one where actually, yeah, this one has lights, but when I built it in there, I forgot to put the lights, so I just used my headlights as the actual lights. But it worked great. And I loved it. I kept it for a while too, just to kind of like scout the planet, and if somebody base shot me, like, it was no harm, no foul. I didn't lose much. All right, we're going to get off to this in a second. I want to go to the other smaller stuff. All right, we already talked about the Mirrorcat. Here we go. This one is the Sasori, I think. I think that's what it's called. Let's double check. No, the Sasori. So that means scorpion. And this is the WG-01 Sasori. And this is a welding ship. Basically, right? This one I used when we were still at Judelon, and I was welding up the base outside. It's perfect size. It has, I think, 2 large containers. No, 1 large container. And then it has a medium container there and some other stuff around it. I believe these are, 3 medium containers, 1 large container. This thing does quite a bit. It holds a lot too, so I was able to basically get all the piping and the tubing on the base up without any problems, and it could support doing the ships as well. So very nice design. I could get really close to and kind of see where I'm going. So the Sasori was very, very nice. It lasted for a while until our base got hacked, or until the server got hacked and they blew it up. All right. So I designed this one because I thought it was cool, and it's basically an off-center or asymmetrical design. And this one I believe is the WG2 or the WD10. Let's see here. Yeah, WG-10 Termite. So again, another welding ship. This one I used specifically when I was inside of Judelon, because this thing could fit into the holes. The whole thing that I wanted to do with Judelon was not disturb the actual asteroid itself. I didn't want to drill into it. That later the plans got kind of messed up because I didn't communicate that well to people, and we ended up drilling into it anyways. But I wanted to try to keep the design of the asteroid the way it was, because it had all these cavernous holes that it was hard to get into. But I designed the termite to fit in it. It's really tight. It's really compact. It has, I believe, 2 medium containers, and then a connector, maybe 2, maybe 3 actually. Hold on, let me see. So yeah, 3 medium containers. So yeah, so this thing holds quite a bit. And obviously 1 welder. After we got hacked, this thing, because it was inside of Judelon, it didn't get blown up. But they did try to blow up. There was a lot of like small pistol rounds around it. They did try to get to it, but for some reason they missed it. So when we flew back, this thing was still there, and I swapped this out for a drill, and I was running back and forth trying to just get small amounts of stuff until I could get the Mirrorcat back in, and then we were able to get more stuff. So yeah, the Termite, great little ship, great design, really did love it. Alrighty then, now we're going to go over to this sucker, the Argentavis. So I designed the Argentavis to carry the Mirrorcat with it, and this was after we got blown up the first time. I didn't have time to basically get all the materials for the Zion, which we'll go over later. So this thing was kind of like my small ship escort slash living ship. So you come here, you actually stand on this little deck right here. Right, so you can stand here, come in. You can actually come in. There's plenty of room inside of it. Right, there's a battery. There's a cryo chamber. There's a survival kit. And then there's plenty of room, so I could have put seats in here if I wanted to. And basically I could park it and then go to cryo, come out and check my surroundings, you know, make sure we're good to go. There's nobody around me. This does have 2 turrets for defense, right? So it has access to, so if I'm building anything around it, I could do it. I kind of like the design. I built it based off of like Star Trek's like shuttle. That's what this Argentavis design is built off of, and I have a similar ship in Space Engineers like this. And then I can have access to the cockpit if we just need to go, right? And I believe this is called the Argentavis. Yes. It's a haul slash cargo ship, Galactic. That's what the G stands for, Galactic. Argentavis. So again, it's a cargo slash hauler. Right, and it's designed to basically, it will have the drill ship dock here, and then I just take the drill ship with me. The reason why I did it this way is so I could go deeper and farther into space off of the
ion thrusters instead of constantly worrying about running out of hydrogen. So I could have, this thing does have a hydrogen tank on it too, so I was able to keep filling up and not worry about running low on this because I had a reactor on here with plenty of uranium, and this thing would just go from point A to point B and park, and then I would just get as much material as I could into the Mirrorcat, into the Argentavis. The problem was this thing handled like a drunk pig when it was full. It was bad, but it did its job, right? So if you're looking for something cheap but will take you farther into space until you could get a bigger ship, the Argentavis is great. I might load this stuff up into the Steam Workshop. This will probably get like 5 subscribers max. I'm not known for the best designs, but I'm definitely known for the weirdest. Anyways, all right, so this was my first fighter right here, and this is the Prelator, which is Roman for a fighter. So this, I think it's the, let's see, it's combined. So what did I name it here? Yeah, the FC1 Prelator. So fighter combined, so it could do space and it could do atmosphere. The tail is actually the docking mechanism. So I tried to keep this thing as small as possible and make it look like an actual ship. It does have decoys, so it is somewhat usable until you get to space and you actually have dogfights with this thing, and it's not very usable because the cockpit is so far front, right? But if you're just going up against like player bases on the planets, this thing will do fine. And if you're going against drones, this thing will do fine. Anything past that, like if it's a medium or heavy ship, or even a smaller like large grid, this thing is just going to get killed. I experienced that firsthand. But the Prelator is fun. It's fun to fly. It's fun to shoot. It handles very, very well. With this big thruster back there, it burns through that one hydrogen tank it has, but it is nice and fun. It is very beefy on the planet, and it will it doesn't make it slow though. It gets up to speed quick, but it is just really, really fun, and it is able to keep itself afloat. It has plenty of bottom thrust. But because it uses the small thrusters, it's very high on the PCU. So that's why I designed the atmospheric one to have that we saw earlier, the Shrew, to have just 4 big thrusters, so I could save the PCU limit on other stuff. That's always been the biggest thing too on the Keen servers, the PCU limit. It was really, really irritating. All right, so let's go into some of the more bigger stuff here. Let's get into this. So this is stuff I used on the moon. Okay, so I built this specifically, and this is a tug. And it's built to grab stuff that's crashed on the planet, right? This little thing pulled the Zion out of a crater. So it could, this thing could pick that thing up and dock it. It's an amazing ship. And this is the CM1. What is the name of it? The Robur, which is just Latin for robust. This thing is just, it's a beast, dude. And it can haul a whole bunch of materials as well. I think it has a large container in there. But it has 2 large, what do you call it? Oh no, it doesn't have a large container. It has 2 large hydrogen tanks. Man, I'm really struggling with those words today. 2 large hydrogen tanks, 4 batteries, 1 medium container. I think it has actually more than 1 medium container. These are medium containers here too. So 5 medium containers. This thing, it's a beast. It is a beast. Now, when I needed to get more materials, I turned the Robur into this. It's ugly. This doesn't really make any sense, but it was what I was able to do with it. I basically just got rid of some of the thrusters on it, and I kept everything else from the Robur. I moved the landing feet back a bit, right? So I could actually like land this thing and not lock onto things. So it's smaller. It's actually closer to the ship than the other one, and it comes further out, so that I don't actually again lock into things when I'm drilling. And then it has these little like additions that hold the drills into place, and then it actually locks in right here at the O2 generators. This one is, I think, called the CD10, and it's combined driller 10. Let's see here. The Robur-Decapod. A decapod is just Latin for a crustacean, or a actual like crab, right? Because it kind of looks like a crab. So the Robur-Decapod. It did its job well. Again, I got rid of a lot of the thrusters. It was literally just meant to grab material and take it back to the lunar station so I could repair the Zion, and it worked well. It was just a modification to the Robur, and it worked just fine. All right, so now we're going to get into the Strigidae, right? The Strigidae, actually. The Strigidae. This thing is ugly. Hideous. But unlike the Argentavis, which is only galactic, this thing is combined. I was able to take off from Earth, land on Earth, on the testing planet, and I was able to land back and forth on the moon with this thing. So it was great. And this was when I was stuck on the planet on Earth-like, but I needed to get off, right? And rebuild stuff. I think, yeah, that's before I crash landed. So that's after we got basically blown up again. Yeah, so this is after we got blown up and I got hunted. I was stuck on Earth-like for a while, just kind of having fun with Earth-like, and I was like, all right, it's time to get off and start to do stuff in space. So I built the Strigidae. It's actually quite useful ship, right? It's much like the Argentavis. It's a livable small ship, right? So I have plenty of room in here. I have a timer block for the survival kit, so that basically it could turn on and off. It has blue light in here, so if it's parked, it's harder to see blue light or red light than it is to see white light farther distance away. It will tell you the weather of where you're on, the server time, the speed, where we're at. There is a gun rack. That's just for decor, but there is a refrigerator, so I can keep my food in here. It looks kind of cool when you're standing in it too. Yeah, it just looks pretty awesome. It has plenty of landing lights. This thing, and it has a lot of cargo space. This thing has a lot of cargo space. The modular cargo container has 2 of them. Yeah, this thing is just amazing. I really did like it. It's a flying Winnebago. It's even more of a flying Winnebago than the Argentavis, and I tried to make it look like such. These wings are actually solar panels, so like if I'm parked, I just turn everything off and it charges up. The only thing I really have is the hydrogen, which I believe it has 2 hydrogen tanks on either side. Those are hydrogen tanks right here. So this thing, it doesn't run out of hydrogen fast, but you do need to be mindful. And I made sure that while I'm flying it, that I could roll around and see what the charge of the hydrogen tanks are. It has these small oxygen tanks on both sides. I tried to make it look very industrial. Yeah, this is the remade one too, by the way. Plenty of batteries. I think there's even more batteries underneath. So plenty of batteries, and I can go mining and plop it in there, and it does have these there's O2 generators somewhere in here. They're tucked away, but it has O2 generators on board, so I could actually 2 O2 generators, so I could actually start charging up the O2. And then if let's say I run out of solar and the batteries start to deplete, I could then use these generators to then run the ship and charge up the batteries if I need to. This thing is very survivable. It has 1 turret, the Gatling turret on it, type 2 to protect you. But other than that, it's only defensive in nature. It does not have any means of attacking. It is literally just there to explore. I think I classified that as such as well. Let's double check. CT-01. Actually, it's a transport. Yep, T. Combined transport, the Strigidae. So I love it. I didn't get to play with it enough because I thought I had lost it. Actually, yeah, I did lose it, but I thought I lost the base because something happened. I think I ended back up on Earth-like, and I decided, hell, I'm just going to build the Zion. But it turned out what happened was I lost power to the base. This thing died, but the base stayed because it was like cycling on and off. No, I lost oxygen. That's right. And the base was cycling on and off because of the solar panel. The base stayed, and I was able to get back to it. So anyways, and that's when I crashed that. So there's the Strigidae. Don't worry about this. It was a design I was working on to get off the planet quickly to get back to this. It looks ugly as hell. I might revisit it and test it, but it's basically, it was basically just a cheap way of getting all my resources and me off the planet and just back into space. All right, I think that's all of the small grids. So let's go to the smaller, large grids. All right, so first and foremost, we'll go to the Exogorth. Exogorth. Man, that one's a hard one to say. The Exogorth was my second deep space miner. I think, let's see how many drills it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I did have to borrow somebody's PCU to get this thing. I think it was Lord Grimm helped me out with that. It is basically a plunge right into a asteroid and mine. It has 2 large cargo containers on it, plenty of batteries. It has an ejector system so I could get rid of stone that I don't want. It has backup cameras. It runs off of a reactor, and it is ion drive based. Plenty of spots to hook up, and the cockpit is really tiny. This is it. This is the cockpit. If you want to see what you're drilling, you actually have to use the drill camera. So right there. If you want to see when you're backing up, you can do this way, but I also have a backup camera, right? This thing, it's literally just a very cheap drilling ship. Everything on here is meant to be cheap, right? And it's the small ones. This is your what do you call it? Survival kit here as well. And if we go deep into space, it does have oxygen tanks. There is a little hiding spot right here where you could just go out and you could park for the night and be somewhat safe. This is, if you actually put your drill right here, it would say that it is a cloning chamber or a cryo chamber. Do I have my drill? But you have to kind of know that it's there, or try to be late drilling. See, insert cloning chamber, right? So it's pretty well hidden. I turn these off. I leave the hint on the Keen servers. Leave at least these lights on or something rotating. So I have my blink lights on at all times with this. The indicator lights that blink. I have them on. So that, and the gyros, that way the server thinks it's a actual still usable grid. If you turn everything off, it's going to be deleted. I learned that, right? So you just turn everything off and you go park here. And this is the LLG-10 or light logistics craft, right? The Zion is actually LLG or LLC-01, but the LLG-01 is over here. So this was my smaller version of a space miner to this. Now we're going to go over to this, and this is the LLG-01 Hammerdrill. Why is it the Hammerdrill? Why do you ask? This thing actually comes out. Now, this is an older version. I actually have all of these spots filled, and I think that is also 9 drills. But this thing is a piston driven, and it pops right out, comes in. So I literally just plop myself right in front of the asteroid, and I just let this do most of the work. Where the Exogorth, you actually have to like drive the ship in, which is why it looks so sleek. You see how it's like sleek? Where the Hammerdrill is not sleek. It is actually a operational ship. You could actually use this as a base, which I did at one point, right? When we were trying to hide from people trying to hunt me down, I use this as an actual base. Let me put this away. It has plenty of cargo space. We're away from the gravity. That's why I turned this gravity off. All right, so it has the defense module here because it does have defensive turrets. There is no offensive capability in it. It's literally just 2 rockets, 3 Gatlings, I think. All right, so this thing is a full-fledged operational base. It has its own. I keep this off, but it is a projector. So if I need to repair anything, it has a. This is the main deck here. That's the cargo deck. This is the main deck here where people come back and forth. You have a back room here which has all access to all the batteries, and you can see down here into where the reactor is. You can see some parts of the reactor and the conveyors. You can see the jump drive here. This thing is fully jump capable. The Exogorth is not. This has right here a gravity drive. You can come around the other way. The same thing here. You can look down and make sure, like, you know, at least whatever's in the machinery room is still good to go. So this thing is like a fully operational base, right? You have the actual pilot house here. Now, I used to have this. This was a design I made back in like 2016 on a server where this was actually fed into a computer and it would feed everything, right? It would tell me how many ores were in the actual cargo container, but it doesn't work. So, and then up here, you have the cruise deck. You have a medical bay, cryo containers or cryo pods, and you can just chill up here, and then you can actually see what's going on the pilot house from up here. This is a full legitimate base, and then you can actually access. Hold on. You can access the machinery room. So you have the refinery right here. There is an assembler. It's back there. So you have the refinery here with speed modules, I believe. There's an assembler back there with speed modules. And you have your reactor right here and all the components and everything else. This thing is a full-fledged base. This is a mobile drilling base. That is why it has the hammer drill. So we come here. And we'll go ahead and pop that out actually real quick. You see that? And then you just turn the drills on, which I don't have them situated. They would go in spot 3 actually. But yeah. And let's pull it back in. That's the hammer drill. It worked out pretty well. I liked it very well. It was very well designed back when I built it in 2016. Still serves its purpose in the server. So we were able to jump around and do what we needed to, and if our base went missing, we could just spawn out of this and use all the resources out of this, and then get another base back up. So yeah, the hammer drill, a lot bigger. Yeah, actually, yeah. So it had some interior. It also had a this right here is a sorter. So this also had an ejector system for crap I didn't want. But yeah, it had, let's see, 2 Gatlings on each side, so 4 Gatlings, and then 2 rocket launchers on the tops, and then plenty of interior security turrets. I really do love the design of this ship. It's one of my favorite ones. It's very mean looking, very big for a driller. I love it. All right, so now we're going to go over to the Zion. Now, that is my frigate. We did not build that, but we're going to go over to these two. Actually, we'll go over to this. So this right here is my gunship. Now, I designed this off of a design built in 2016 by Scapegoat when we played together, and I took his design and I modified it for myself. This is literally just a very small, large grid fighter, right? So think of it like the Prelator as a small fighter, but large grid. So this thing is just meant to go toe-to-toe with other large grids, but cheap, right? So it's quick. This thing gets up. It's very hard to stop it though. So you got to do a flip and burn on this thing because it only has these 2 small ones, but it has just 1 large thruster in the back. It could get to where it's going real fast. It could get on target and put lead on things quickly. It does have 4 rocket launchers, so It's got to get in and just like hammer really good. It's meant to get in there. All of this is hard steel, right? Reinforced hardened steel, right? Or heavy steel. All these wings, if you want to call them protrusions, all have decoys on both sides. I think this actually gets the inner side, right? And then it's got two Gatlings, 2 rocket launchers, and a auto cannon on the top. So this thing is just meant to put lead on targets quickly. All right, we'll come into the ship itself. And it has a survival kit. It has cryopods if I need to save somebody, or if I'm flying and I need to stop for the night, I could stop. It has oxygen so it can keep itself up and running if I need to. It has plenty of oxygen, to be honest with you. It doesn't need hydrogen at all. It is literally just meant to get to a place and kill bad guys. So I could actually park it on an asteroid if I know somebody's going to be coming by, put it into dark mode, come out of my cryopod, jump in and get to them really quick and just disrupt them. Even if we don't kill them off, we will definitely damage them enough to where it's going to make it very hard for them to do what they want to. We use this in the server, and we were taking down the NPC factions relatively well without very much damage to this thing. So if it's a light ship, large grid, it will just decimate them quickly. Multiple ones too, with taking very little damage. So, and this is the, I think the HG-01 Eclipse, the Eclipse class. So, and it stands for gunboat, galactic, and first of the class. Okay. Zion. We'll do the Zion first, and then we'll save this thing for last. All right, gamer. So before we jump to the Zion, I totally forgot to bring in the Heraldic Eagle. Now, this is a ECS. It's like a expeditionary cargo ship, right? And it's called the Heraldic Eagle. We built this, and why I call it a Heraldic Eagle, it looks like a two-headed eagle. If you look at it like this, you kind of see like the small wings. And it's a two-headed eagle that's kind of like, you know, the old Prussian and like the Russian eagles right now. What is that flying in here? Please tell me it's... Okay, yeah, we're good. That's what it's called, a Heraldic Eagle. So this is actually 2 of the space starter ships put together. After the server got hacked, we had to put everything back, or we had to come back in the server. All of our big ships were gone. All I had was that small little miner, and I didn't have enough ice or anything. So he's like, okay, let's just get starter ships, and we decided we were going to combine them together. And this, I kept them and said, hey, I can make something cool out of this. So that's what I did. This is 2 designs later, because I did take this into a testing world, and it didn't fare very well. So we added these thrusters in the back. But this thing is incredible. I mean, it does everything. It has defensive turrets, so 2 Gatling guns right here. It has small security turrets. And then it does have an offensive capability, which is this rocket launching pod. So if I need to take something down, I'll swipe in. But with this all glass cockpit meant to be able to, like, I could land and see everything. It's not really meant to fight, but it can if it needs to take something out. So let's go inside. I call this the Temu Millennium Falcon because it is an off-center or an asymmetrical ship. So it has an airlock here. Right? You come into the cockpit area here, and like I said, visibility is great. So if I just go back in here, like I could... Uh-oh. I saw red. Oh, okay, no, never mind. I could see down here, down there. I could see all the way above me. Right? I could see everything I need to see if I'm in cockpit mode, right? This does have its own vent, its own lighting. I have access to the cargo containers as well. So everything you need here, you could sustain yourself on the cockpit, and you're not really worried about it, right? All right, so this is the main crew chambers, right? So you got a survival kit, you have a gear locker, you have access to the cargo containers, you have more gear lockers, and then you have only 2 cryo cryo chambers. So this is a very small crewed ship. It's very tight and compact as well. And here is your, oh my goodness, jump drive. All right. This is the engineering bay, so if you're going to hitch a ride, you got to sit back here. This also has oxygen, so you're not going to suffocate to death back here in the engine bay, engineering room. But this does, it can sustain itself. It does have plenty of batteries. This is the back end of the jump drive. It has small H2 containers, right? So I think it has 1, 2, 3, just like the Zion. So it's not meant to fly in space off of hydrogen. It flies off of ion, which we'll go back out there and show you. It flies off of ion, but it lands and takes off with hydrogen. So, and this holds quite a bit. It doesn't have like a large or medium container. It just has a whole bunch of small containers. So it can hold a whole bunch. We do have a assembler. I think it's a small assembler, O2 tank. And it does have a small refinery. So we'll go on there and take a look. And it does have a generator. So this one generator can recharge everything if we need to. It takes a while, but we can, if we're stuck on a planet, get a whole bunch of ice. And there's room to keep a small drill. I'll show you. So yeah, you got the basic refinery. I think this is, yep, the base, this assembler. And then the O2 H2 generator. So everything is accessible on this. That's how I like it. I like my ships to have basically be able to reach and touch everything, right? So that's the inside. It's very small. It's very compact. But that's why I call it the Temu Millennium Falcon. All right, I'm going to show you some stuff outside. All right, so come on, there you go. All right, so ion, 2 ion, 2 hydros, ion, and 4 ions pushing it forward. So this thing has plenty of ion. Same thing, hydrogen. It has the same amount for hydrogen as it does for ion, except for the downward thrust. The downward thrust for the upward thrust is just 2 gigantic hydrogen ones, right? That's meant to get them off. Again, this thing suffers kind of the same thing as the Zion, where as soon as you get off the planet, you start to suffer with O2, but this one could make up with it by turning on the ion once we get into an atmospheric level. I think once you get to like 0.5, you should be fine. So it's pretty usable. A lot more usable than the Zion is actually, but again, you have to be able to get the resources for ion, which you're not going to be able to do on Earth-like, right? Or most of the planet. So you're probably going to do something like this and then convert to something like this later, right? It has its own landing feet. It does struggle. Like, you do have to have enough hydrogen to get back up in the ship, so you gotta watch that. Docking. So there is a small flight deck back here, very tiny, small flight deck, right? We use it for refueling and stuff. So I've had the Prelator fighter attached there, and then I had my Mirrorcat parked back here, or I park it up here. It's essentially just a parking area right here, and then right back here. So this thing is useful. It does carry a lot, and it will get you far. I really did like the Heraldic Eagle. It's a Temu Millennium Falcon. All right, let's cut back in to the Zion. That also is a ship I'm still designing. Some people know it as the Liberator. Chewy Bond built it back in 2016 and then brought it back into Empyrean. I have not redesigned it for the newer servers yet. Same thing for the X-Media. So we're not even going to cover that. All right, the Zion. Everybody knows this thing. I have it. I built it originally in 2016, and Space Engineers brought it to Empyrean, where I refined it and refined it again here. This is the second iteration of it. This thing will land from Pertam to Earth-like. It will take off from them, no problems at all. It does get close to running out of hydrogen when it is taking off, because it only has these 3 hydrogen tanks in the back, but what it compensates for that is this. So you get as high as you can on the Atmo, and then you kick these suckers on, and you just kind of tap, and you keep tapping it until you get into space. So the goal with this thing is you got to fill it up with ice before you take off. But this thing is basically like a mobile base, right? You could modify it to put drills on, which I did. And then basically I park in space, and every once in a while I flip it, or I put it into an area where it will basically continually get sunlight, right? So no matter where the sun turns, I have it tilted to where the sun is just going to constantly hit one of those, if not all of these solar panels, right? And the algae farm at all times. All right. I actually turned this into a base in the last part of the episode, so it was pretty cool. All right, it has plenty of room in it, so you could expand this thing out, which I did when we turned this into basically a satellite base, right? This became a meeting area. Then we broke this off. This became a medical. This became like a functioning factory room. Plenty of batteries. All right, so this thing will go for a very long time. 2 cryo chambers. You could put more on there if you need to. If the batteries start to die and you don't have solar, you could use the ice to power this up. With that, once you get into space, you could take like it has like 2 modes. You could number 2 is like all of the thrusters, and number 1 is basically, or number 3 is all. Number 2 is all of the thrusters. Number 3 is just cruising in space. Number 4 is just the landing ones, right? So you could kind of swap them in and out if you need to. Plenty of connectors as well. It's literally meant to get off of any planet if you're on a planet. Take as much crap as you can with you, because it has that one very large container and several of the small ones with it. It's just built to get you off the planet, right? It has a basic assembler and it has a basic refinery. So it's just going to get you the basic stuff coupled with the survival kit till you could actually build a good base. But Zion was one of my favorite designs. It looks like a flying frog. It operates like a flying frog. But it does do its job. It gets you from point A to point B. It will land on everything. It's just a great ship. I really do love the Zion. A classic build for me in almost every game, every ship game I built. Now this is a new one for me. This is a new one. I believe this one is called, man, I'm losing it here, guys. I'm losing it here. Let's go in and see. Actually, I can just do this. Ah, the Hatchet. That's right, because it looks like a hatchet. And PS-01. All right. So PS because it's a patrol ship. And it should say C because it's combined. But this thing will never go on a planet. It's not designed to go on a planet. Reason why I use hydrogen is because hydrogen's just really fast, right? It's a lot faster than for acceleration than ion thrusters are. So it's a lot more reliable. But this thing has 4 hydrogen thrusters. 4. So this thing ain't running out of hydrogen anytime soon, right? Because once I get up to speed and I'm just cruising to target, I cut this stuff off and I just go into cruise mode. But it's a heavy patrol ship, by the way, or a corvette, right? As some people would call it, a heavy corvette. Where this is more like a gunboat / patrol boat, but this is a corvette. It is, the outer shell is all hardened steel, I believe. Let me just double check. Yep, it's heavy armor. So it's all heavy hardened steel. And it has this throat that comes out that looks kind of like, the front looks like a hatchet, so it's cutting through space. And it has these, which are its beards, but its beards hold the decoys right here. So it has several decoys in it. The big thing with this thing is its one contributing factor is it is a sniper, and it has this railgun right here. So able to use this camera, point at target, and then just hit it one good time from a very far distance. Then once that's done, we come in and we finish it off. Auto cannon on both sides, auto cannons on the bottom, Gatlings in the rear, so if you get by me, you get chewed up, right? Same thing here. And then it has an artillery turret on the top. So 4 autocannon artillery, and then 4 Gatlings. No rockets on it at all. It is basically a heavy corvette. So I love this thing. It was a pleasure to build. I tried not to make it so boxy by putting all these other designs and stuff on it, but it is just really very mean looking. It has a distinct look on it that no one else does. Kind of like spiders with legs and a throat. It looks kind of hellish and creepy. I really do like the way it turned out, especially with these like little like pods coming out with the turrets on it. It looks amazing. And of course my the dark camouflage, obviously with the Obsidian Syndicate colors. Man, really love it. All right, so how you get in? Plenty of gyros in the front. Now, why did I put gyros in the front? Gyros have a lot of hit points, so they act as a way to basically cushion the blow before it gets to me. There's other gyros in the ship, so if I need to get out, I can still turn. And by that time, you've already taken a lot of weight off, so I don't need this many anyways. But yeah, it acts as basically, so you can see the other gyros back here. It acts as more armor because they are very, very high in hit points. This thing does not produce food, so you bring your food with you. It does have a survival kit on it, so and then it does have a cryo room, so I could then again go out, park with this thing, go with your food if you need to. You do have to jump up and get up here to get to the cockpit, but once in the cockpit, you fly by looking at it either through the cameras, which I think it has a rear camera back here. No, it does not. I normally fly this way in third person, but if I'm going to shoot the gun, actually, hold on, it does have a rear camera. Let's see, 9, 8. Oh no, that's right, because I found this out, that the cameras get blown out. So I have 2 cameras. I have a backup camera. That's right. You can see here a lot of gyros right here. 4 hydro tanks. This thing's a beast. So very, very, very impressed with the Hatchet. I really did like flying this thing. Too bad I couldn't actually fight anybody with it. I did take a small base and several NPCs with it and barely scratched the nose. Man, I really wanted more of a chance to use the Hatchet. But other than that, guys, that's it. I think I might actually make some videos. I know I'm gonna do a review on the Keen server in whole. I did not enjoy the Keen server at all. So if we do go back, we're going to be playing on other people's servers for sure. But there are some other ships that I want to bring in, so I'll probably work on the frigate for sure, and our destroyer, the Liberator. And obviously, I wasn't able to get some of the designs, like Chewie had a very nice ship, 2 very nice ships that we were not able to capture in this series. I wanted to put it in the fleet review, but I couldn't. And obviously the server's down now too, so I wasn't able to get Drex's and Sether's ships. But you guys saw them through the video, so I implore you, take these clips, go back and take a look at some of these ships. I've made clip marks in the video, so you can go back and take a look at those. But I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If we ever do go back, again, it would be more of in a controlled server than that. It was just too crazy. But that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to be heading back to Valheim. So if you guys are excited for Valheim, they have the new update coming. So the Corsairs are heading back to Valheim. So hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. That's all I got. Chief Rocky out.